Hey, how you doing? Gabi here from Ray Studios, and today I'm gonna be reviewing the 7 Artisans 27mm f2.8 AF lens. If you're new to the channel, I review a lot of tech and lenses and photography equipment, so I will invite you to subscribe. First, let me say that 7 Artisans did send me this lens for review and testing, yet this is not a sponsored video. They did not tell me what to say. I have total freedom, and everything you hear in this video is entirely my own opinion. With that being said, let's do a quick unboxing. I always really like 7 Artisans lens unboxing experience. That's because, well, besides being very familiar, they're actually very well put together. We have a bigger than usual instruction manual, Type-C cable to do firmware upgrades, and the lens that comes wrapped in this plastic bag to avoid moist and dust. First look at this lens, it kind of strikes me as some of the Sony lenses for the APS-C system. It looks modern, but it's very well put together since it have a metal mount and it have a metal body. At least it's mostly metal. They have this sticker here on the side that I don't quite like. The focus ring is actually very smooth, and here also on the side we have this Type-C port for doing firmware upgrades, but as you can see, it's not that easy to keep that rubber cover in place, and that might get lost eventually. We do have a 52mm filter thread, and overall this lens feels very small and lightweight. This is how this lens looks like on my Sony CV10. The Sony CV10, it is a very small crop sensor camera, and you can see how this lens makes perfect sense on this camera. It is a 27mm lens, which means it's somewhere around a little bit over 35mm on full frame, which is a standard lens, which is very useful for basically anything. It's one of my favorite focal lenses. Now this lens at the moment is only available for Sony E-mount cameras, and even so you could mount this on a full frame camera, you're gonna get that nasty vignetting since it was designed to work with APS-C cameras like the Sony CV10 and the Sony a6000 series. Currently there is a promotion on this lens on the official 7 Artisans store. I think it's only $116 for an autofocal lens that is f2.8. That is actually pretty good. By the way, metal's metal, really good quality on this lens. So I'll make sure to include a link in the description down below. I'll see if I can include an extra discount on that, but either way, I would really appreciate if you can use my affiliate links to help this channel grow. When it comes to image quality, I believe this lens is kind of like a mixed bag, and I have seen some other reviewers talking about this lens, and I kind of disagree with their opinion. So at first glance, when I started taking pictures, I was kind of like, I do agree with some of these other reviewers in which this lens kind of looks a little bit soft, even so it's not really soft. At least wide open, it kind of like really low contrast. When you step it down, that problem tends to go away. At f4, f5.6, you cannot regain that contrast. But something that I really like, the characteristic of this lens, is kind of like a vintage lens, and you don't get to see that often on autofocus lenses. So in a way, it is very special. You have this character that only old lenses have, but on a modern, great looking lens. So straight out of f2.8, it is decently sharp. It's not very soft, and that sharpness, it is well across the whole frame. And when you step it down, it gets a little bit sharper and start gaining contrast. I haven't noticed almost any chromatic aberration with this lens, so it handled that actually pretty well. But like I say, the contrast is very low, and especially when you shoot against bright lights. The contrast seems to basically disappear, and it seems to have a bit of a glare. It isn't much of flaring on this lens, but there is like this kind of glare, and it might seem like a very bad lens, but in my opinion, it might just looks very cinematic. As a matter of fact, when I was researching this lens on the 7 Artisans official website, I saw some of the samples that they posted on their own website, and they also looks a little bit soft, but like I say, yet very cinematic, very special on a way, and I kind of tend to appreciate that the more pictures are taken with this lens. 27 millimeters is equivalent to 40 millimeters in full frame, which is a bit of an odd focal length because it's kind of like on between 35 and 50, which is kind of like the two more standard focal lengths. So 35 is standard wide while 50 is just standard. So it makes for a nice kind of walk around photography sort of lens, and you still get away with some bokeh here and there. And the bokeh is actually very inoffensive. It's not special in any way, but it's rather smooth. I think in a way, even so this lens, it takes great pictures, and like I say, it does have a lot of character. There is a lot of opportunities for using this lens for actual video, especially for people who like shooting productions and they like their videos to have character, to have some special kind of look to their footage. When it comes to video, I believe this lens is actually pretty good. Right now it's at f2.8, fully wide open, and you can see the autofocus is tracking my face decently well. And if I put some product in front of me, it will go into the product, back into my face, back into the product, back into my face. The autofocus works. There is some occasionally hunting here and there, but for most case scenarios, I trust this autofocus system. As a vlogging lens, I don't think this is very useful because it's really tight. So it's kind of like a 36 millimeters equivalent, and there is no image stabilization whatsoever. So if you go into active image stabilization, the one that is like digitally cropping in, well, this is how it looks like with active steady shot, and you can barely see my face and nothing else. So yeah, this is definitely not a vlogging lens, no matter how you use it. In the other hand, if you do have a tripod in which you can mount your camera on, it is a pretty decent lens for doing talking head videos like I'm doing right now. And the camera is not too far from me, I can still almost touch it, it's right there. We did drop in contrast, especially shooting against bright lights. There is also this beautiful highlight roll-off, which is very desirable when trying to achieve a cinematic look. So, in conclusion, do I recommend this lens? Well, it depends. If you want optical greatness, maybe not. This is not the sharpest lens out there, and it tends to have relatively low contrast, which some people will not appreciate. Something that I noticed in my pictures, all the pictures you see in here, the sample pictures, they're actually straight out of the camera JPEG pictures, but I did some personal pictures that I took that maybe I didn't show here. I bump up the contrast a little bit and it solves the problem. But I think this is a lens for people who really understand and appreciate how some old vintage lenses used to be, that they have character, that they have this special look. And this is what this lens is all about. So if you're looking for something special and very affordable, well, yeah, I do recommend it. Okay guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, please don't forget to comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios amigos.